Sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, sit that, right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, sit that, right there, don't go nowhere.
Welcome back. We back with another reaction video. Today we are reacting to evil teen shocked by horrible detectives. This is a stay awake crime and psychology video. Let's get right into the reaction.
You consider yourself. Then stand up. No, stand up and be a man. Okay? Own up. Own up for what you've done. Do you understand? You shake your head at me. You look at me. I just want to make sure you understand. I'm trying to. Okay, then speak up and tell us.
The person you are looking at is a 29-year-old man by the name of Matthew Livers. Matt is currently being interrogated at the Plattsmouth Police Department following the brutal murders of his aunt and uncle. The events that preceded and come to follow this interview can be epitomized with one word: terrifying. However, in order to fully understand the context of this case, we will now start at the beginning. On April 16, 2006, in the small town of Murdoch, Nebraska, Wayne and Charmin Stoke were celebrating Easter Sunday at their local church, among several other town residents. The town had a small population of just 300 people, and to this little community, Wayne and Charmin were known as a wholesome couple in their 50s who have been described as tremendously loving and open-hearted. They were successful farmers whose family had tended to their land for generations. Once the church service had wrapped up, the Stokes went back home where they had set up an Easter egg hunt for their grandchildren. After spending some quality time with their family, they parted ways. The next morning, their son Andy Stoke went to the family farmhouse, located at 9503 286th Street, to speak with his parents. It was ominously quiet for a time that would typically be filled with chores. He entered the home and ran up the stairs. He then found his parents lying on the floor, surrounded in blood. It appeared that they had been brutally gunned down. Andy immediately placed a call to 911, and the investigators quickly arrived on the scene. After doing the initial examination of the home, investigators began piecing together what may have happened. The first thing that they noted was that there was a window left open with the screen removed. However, it did not appear that there was any sign of a forced entry. When studying the bullet holes, it appeared that the first bullet fired may have missed its target, as it was found deep inside the mattress. Investigators believed that after the first shot was fired, Wayne then fought to disarm the gunman. However, the second shot was then fired, which hit Wayne directly in the knee. As Wayne crawled away, Charmin hurried to call for help, but before the call was placed, Wayne was executed with a single shot to the back of the head at close range. While Charmin continued to struggle to dial 911, she was shot directly in the face, killing her instantly. The community was shocked, outraged, and overwhelmed by fear. A town once known to be safe enough to leave the doors unlocked now had a vicious killer on the loose. Since a lot of the Stokes' valuables were left out in the open, yet not a single item was missing. This led investigators to believe that these murders may have been a crime of passion. Statistically, 84% of all murders are committed by close family or friends, and based on the way that this home was left, the culprit must have known where they were going, as when they entered the house, they went directly upstairs to kill Wayne and Charmin. After a few conversations with members of the Stoke family, rumors of one disgruntled family member in particular were revealed. Apparently, Matt Livers, who was Wayne and Charmin's nephew, felt left out of the fortune emerging from the family's successful hay business. Charmin's brother even told investigators that Charmin would constantly worry about Matthew attacking or murdering her. Officers quickly decided that Matt was at the top of their list of people of interest. They then invited him to the police department, where he took part in an interrogation. This brings us right back to the interview at the beginning of this video.
Let's take this in baby steps, all right? Let's try to make this as simple as possible. Man, I'm trying to help you piece this together because we already know the truth, man. The truth is, you got a gun. Right or wrong? Right. And you took that gun back to your Uncle Wayne and Aunt Charmin's house, right? Right or wrong? Come on, man.
Maybe
right.
So.
And you saw them laying in bed, right or wrong? Right, I guess. Right? Right. And you fired a shot. At your Uncle Wayne. Right. And what happened next? I want you to tell me. Then I pulled that trigger and shot her. And then she screamed more. Then I just put the gun to her face and blew it away. Okay. And then as I headed out, I just stuck it to him and blew him away. Now tell me how you're feeling. Like shit. This is a really important question. You weren't alone that night. Is that right or wrong? Right. There was somebody else with you, wasn't there? Yeah.
The reason the detectives are pressing Matt for an accomplice is due to the blood spatter at the crime scene. The pattern on the wall indicated that somebody else was standing in between the wall and the victim during the shooting.
You weren't alone that night. Who else was with you? Nick Sampson.
Nick Sampson is Matt's cousin. Matt was always considered a black sheep in the family, apparently due to his lack of impulse control and mindfulness. Nick was one of the only people that Matt was close to, so it would make sense if he was an accomplice.
Hey, sit here for just a second, okay? Then I'll get you that potty break stuff and the smoke break. All right?
Body break, you a grown ass.
Sit here for a second.
Well, this cannot be real.
To the detectives, this interrogation was an important victory. They made an ambitious push for a confession and it paid off. They now had one killer in custody and they didn't hesitate to jump on to the next suspect. With their guns drawn, they raided Bulldog's Bar and Grill, where Nick Sampson worked. They dragged him out of the kitchen and slammed him on the floor. They then handcuffed him.
Not worried. Man, I'm trying to help you piece this together. Because we already know the truth, man. The truth is, you got a gun. Right or wrong? Right. And you took that gun back to your Uncle Wayne and Aunt Charlotte's house, right? Right or wrong? Come on, man. Right. And you fired a shot. At your Uncle Wayne. Right. And what happened next? I want you to tell me.
Because I need your confession.
Don't remember. You don't remember. But you got pretty close to Aunt Charlotte, didn't you? Right, I guess. I don't know. And you fired a shot. Like, yes, sir. All right. You started to say, come on, let it go. Then I pulled that trigger and shot her. And then she screamed more. Then we just went like, put the gun to her face and blew it away. Okay. And then as I headed out, I just stuck it to him and blew him away. Now tell me how you're feeling. Like shit.
I'm saying, yeah, fast forward.
It is
not
debatable
immediate
whether or
regret.
not detectives should be permitted to threaten a
8 hours later isn't immediate. Like, what?
the death sentence. On one hand, the pressure to admit guilt in order to avoid a death sentence could bring a legitimate murderer to justice. But on the other hand, this same pressure could also trick an innocent person into perceiving that they need to choose between two options. They either buckle down to their claim of innocence and hope that the court does not sentence them to capital punishment, or they make a false confession, which may provide a better likelihood that they will be able to live out their natural life in prison. If you're at all familiar with the case of Stephen Avery, which was made famous by the Netflix docu-series Making a Murderer, then you may have noticed an alarming similarity between this interrogation and that of Brendan Dassey. At 16 years old, Brendan confessed to being a party to the murder, mutilation, and assault of Teresa Halbach, along with his accomplice and uncle Stephen Avery, who he was eventually brought to testify against. However, after changing his story multiple times leading up to the trial, he took the stand and testified that he had lied about his and his uncle's involvement during his initial interrogation.
Was Teresa Halbach alive at 5 o'clock, Mr. Dassey?
She was never there when I was there.
Never where, sir?
I never seen her there.
And you lied to the police?
Yes.
Are you lying? You're lying today?
No.
How is it that you were able to tell the police officers so much detail about what happened to Teresa if you weren't there?
I don't know.
What do you mean, sir? You don't know?
I could have got it out of books.
What book that you read ever had the story of a woman chained to a bed, stabbed, and then her body thrown on a fire? What book was that, sir?
Yo, you're bugging.
I believe it was called Kiss the Girls.
According to the Innocence Project, about 25% of wrongfully accused cases involve a false confession. Although Brendan Dassey was later convicted for his involvement in Teresa's murder and remains behind bars to this day, experts believed that Brendan Dassey's confession was purely the result of a suggestible individual being coerced. That is exactly what is happening to Matt Livers in his interrogation. He is another case of a suggestible person with a below-average IQ being guided to provide a story that fits the detective's agenda. They accomplished this through persistence and intimidation. Thankfully, in the case of Matt Livers, he was...
So when he said he was dumb, he was really dumb. Like, he's just, well, not dumb. Let me stop. He's just a little bit slower than your average, you know. So this is really coercion. Like, you about to basically force him to confess. That's kind of crazy. And it should be illegal. Definitely immoral.
Was able to quickly recognize the mistake that he had made, and 2 days after his initial confession, he recanted his statements.
The truth.
You got something on your mind. Let me know about it. Okay. That's the whole. You're jerking me around now. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, you are. Yes, I'm telling you, yesterday there was absolutely no doubt you are involved with this.
Yeah, but you're an idiot.
I'm jerking you guys around, deal. I mean, I wish I would have said that from the beginning.
Unfortunately, the detectives were only abrasive and dismissive to Matt.
Right.
They essentially hid this footage for 6 months, and it was only discovered in the preparation for Matt's trial by Matt's defense team. It also turns out that the inexperienced administrator scoring Nick's polygraph scored it incorrectly. These weren't the only things that the detectives knowingly dismissed. Early on, a gold ring was found at the crime scene with the names Corey and Ryan engraved on the outside. The ring did not belong to anybody in the family, and that was the full extent that law enforcement looked into it. However, going against the grain was one particular member of the homicide unit who noticed a model number engraved on the inside of the ring, beginning with AAJ. They tracked this model number to the company that made it, A&A Jewelers, the day before they were shutting down their business due to bankruptcy. There were 2 locations that distributed across the entire United States to various sellers, such as Gordon's, Zales, and Walmart. After looking through thousands of documents and making about 70 phone calls, they found the Walmart it was distributed to, 8 hours away from the crime in Wisconsin. It turns out that it was a custom order by a woman named Corey who had bought the ring for her boyfriend, Ryan. When the detective spoke to the couple, Ryan said that the ring was in his red Dodge pickup truck that was stolen 2 days before the murders, along with some money and a 12-gauge shotgun with ammunition. Law enforcement was able to hunt down the couple who had stolen the truck, Greg Fester and Jessica Reed, who were 19 and 17 years old. They were in Wisconsin, but they had actually taken the truck on a multi-day joyride down south to Louisiana, passing through Nebraska on the way, before returning home. The truck was seized for examination. The police found Mr. and Mrs. Stokes' DNA all over the vehicle. They were also able to collect DNA off of Greg and Jessica, and matched it to the DNA found on a marijuana pipe, which was found in the Stokes' front lawn. Investigators wanted to get to the bottom of what had actually happened, so they brought the couple into the Wisconsin police station, where Nebraska detectives interrogated them. The suspect continued to deny the detectives' narrative. They resorted to threatening them with the death sentence. While the methods of execution that he listed may seem gruesome and barbaric to many, these examples are actually still considered constitutional and are practiced in some cases to this day. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, 8 of the United States authorized the electric chair, with South Carolina having it as their primary method of execution, while 9 states authorized lethal gas as a plausible option. Additionally, in 2019, there were 19 exoneration cases in which the suspect was threatened with the death penalty. 95% of these cases were wrongful convictions, in which official misconduct or a false accusation was present. It is misconduct like this that results in false confessions, which in turn can result in the real killer Jessica was then escorted back to a cell in the county jail. During Jessica's interrogation, police were searching her house. Inside, they found a cigarette carton with a single 12-gauge shotgun shell, the same kind found in the Stoke residence. They also found a love letter from Jessica to Greg, where she said that they had just killed some people and she loved it. She even wrote that if Greg didn't want to repeat a similar crime in the future, she would still go on to do it again anyway. To the investigators, this was a written confession to being a proud, cold-blooded killer. They now had a clear narrative. Jessica and Greg stopped at Bulldog's Bar and Grill, where they met Matt and Nick, and with nothing to lose, they went with them to the Stoke residence to rob it. Matt's true incentive became clear when he headed straight upstairs and murdered his aunt and uncle. They then fled the scene. However, the means by which the interrogators built this narrative failed them yet again. Jessica was also smart enough to recant her confession as well.
Craig blew the guy's head off. And he shot a hole through the lady's face.
Oh, he did? Really? And you didn't have nothing to do with that?
What was I supposed to do?
Greg, don't.
Asian as Matt, Jessica requested a private meeting with the Wisconsin detectives to confide in them what she claimed to be the truth.
I don't know these other two people they're talking about. They won't want me to tell them the truth. They are not involved in it. Somebody please believe me.
This brings us to a similar position as to where we left off with Matt. Two people have confessed and proceeded to take it back. With only recanted confessions, it's debatable whether or not the case against them would be taken seriously without more forensic evidence. When speaking to the family of Wayne and Charmin, police discovered that Nick's brother, Will Sampson, had access to a tan sedan. It turns out that on the night of the murders, police reported a suspicious car driving at very high speeds right near the farmhouse. It was also a tan sedan. In good faith, Will handed over his car to the police, but he was certain neither of the boys had been in his car for a long period of time. Oddly enough, the car had been completely detailed the morning after the murders. Upon first inspection, the car seemed squeaky clean, with no sign of evidence that would help the detective's case. The investigators needed to pull out all the stops. David Caffode was brought in from Omaha to take the lead. He was described as a legendary superstar detective from the Douglas County CSI unit and was named Mr. Nebraska twice thanks to his stunning physique. He helped find the key forensic evidence in several high-profile cases. Caffode re-inspected the crime scene as well as any physical evidence they had obtained, including the tan sedan. Lo and behold, he swabbed beneath the dashboard behind the steering wheel, tested it in a lab, and a mere 7 nanograms of DNA was found. It matched with the blood of none other than Wayne Stoke. This evidence, along with Nick's polygraph and the confessions, would guarantee the prosecution and likely conviction of all of the suspects involved. Many believed that this case was game, set, and match, but some, including the attorneys representing Matt Livers, could not shake the feeling that something fishy was going on. How was it that David Caffode found this microscopic speck of blood when there was no blood to be found in the rest of the vehicle? Common sense told them that he had planted the blood. They filed a lawsuit claiming that the investigation had been mishandled from the very beginning, and superstar David Caffode was indicted, charged for tampering with evidence.
It's day 3 of the evidence tampering trial of Douglas County CSI Director Dave Caffode. 2 of his investigators take the stand to defend their boss. Christine Gabig says she never thought Caffode planted evidence, even though he found blood in the same car that she had previously searched and found no blood.
If one person processes some information and doesn't find anything, and then another person processes some information and does find something, does that call into question the reliability and integrity of either the first or the second person?
If they're using the same techniques, it could call into their skill level. I mean, it could call a lot of things into question.
The prosecution says Caffode planted the blood and in the process implicated 2 innocent men in the 2006 murder of a Murdoch farm couple.
Caffode claimed that it was an accident. To swab the vehicle, he had used a presumptive blood test kit that was already used at the crime scene, and it therefore must have been contaminated with blood. However, Matt's team believed that Caffode was called in by 2 inexperienced detectives after they realized that they had botched the case beyond repair, resulting in Caffode fabricating the blood in the car. Caffode's team retorted to this, stating that if he wanted to frame anybody, he would have done a much better job, using Matt's other belongings to directly tie him to the crime.
The state has met its burden of proof and has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crime as charged, count 1, tampering with physical evidence.
David
That is
Kafode
awesome.
was found guilty. Before his sentencing, he participated in an interview with a local news station.
How?
I guess it's going to actually maybe potentially come true is that I'd rather go to jail than admit to something I didn't do. I felt pretty good. I mean, I'm not, you never know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that's it's out of your hands, but I didn't feel bad about it, so I got fooled. I never thought we had to prove different theories. I think that there was reasonable doubt, and that was just my opinion. These were execution-style homicides, and there was biological matter sprayed all over.
So how did Wayne Stokes' blood end up in a car that had nothing to do with the crime? 7/1 of a gram of it.
I think it came from us because we had all the contact with the scene. The thing that I think is so nonsensical is that to plant evidence in a third party's car might help to connect them to the car, but you can't prove anything. Honestly, it just destroyed me financially.
Kofod says he hopes to maintain a steady income as he continues the next wave of proving he did nothing wrong.
Please.
And my life's not done. I mean, this is obviously it's pretty steep change in my life, but my life's not over. I've already moved on in some respects. I hope you understand, I'm not done.
He was sentenced to serve 20 months to 4 years in prison. He also faced judgment for the damage his crime had caused Matt Livers and Nick Sampson. He was ordered to pay compensatory and punitive damages to the two men, amounting to $6.5 million in total.
Well, 2-second applause. Man, get that corrupt ass cop out of here. But also, damn, is we gonna find out who did it? I feel like Shorty did it, the 17-year-old, the one who wrote the love letter. Like, what? That wasn't even a love letter. That was a body bag letter. Like, what?
For Nick, the judge stated Sampson suffered a grave injustice. He has shown he will suffer the after effects of this injustice for the rest of his life. As for Matt, the judge stated the plaintiff was incarcerated for 6 months and faced the prospect of either a life sentence or the death penalty for a crime he did not commit. There is evidence that the plaintiff is affected more negatively than it would a person of average intelligence. Additionally, there is evidence that Livers suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, sleep problems, irritability, anxiety, and depression as a result of the experience. Kafode ended up serving 18 months in prison. Following his conviction, he had no choice but to resign from his position. He now lives in North Carolina. Additionally, the other cases Kafode mysteriously found blood in were appealed and thus far have been unsuccessful. Jessica Reed and Gregory Fester were also eventually taken to trial. They were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. While serving...
Okay, cool. So they did catch him. Good job. Good job. He about to finish, but this was actually the worst case I've ever seen, bro. They said, nah, we know you did it. 8 hours later, I might have said I did it too. Nah, I wouldn't. I'm being serious. Like, no. If I didn't do it, I didn't do it. I don't care. It's simple. Can I get a phone to call my lawyer? Thank you.
During her sentence, Jessica seems to have turned her life around. In June of 2018, she even gave a TED Talk to the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women, in which she currently resides.
I take every chance to learn and help everyone I can. I still follow my purpose to help strengthen my community, and I'm leaving my future up to my higher power, God. Fate arises when we allow ourselves to slow down and let the world in around us. Let your ability to be happy and make every moment count bring you peace.
Damn, they couldn't get better mics, but that echo crazy. Yeah, that echo crazy. Oh, that's it. Yeah, man. Like I said before, like 2 minutes ago, this is a wild case. Like, normally when these videos be presented, it's okay. Yeah, we got this. Here's the evidence. I'm gonna show you this. And then you might get the interrogation. We went straight up with the interrogation. That should have, gave me a sign that it might be some falsification going on. Like, bro, it might be some fugazi going on. So the fact that the 2 detectives that initially picked up the case didn't get any punishment or, I don't know, suspension or something is kind of wild, because, brother, y'all was just throwing in the air and hoping it stuck. and it didn't at all. I said help David Kofod pay some of the punitive damages. Like, what are we saying? I said in the video, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I drop on the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
Everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, you best. Everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, you best. Everything I'm seeing, I achieved it, bitch, you best believe it. It has been my Nintendo switch legit, though, kick it with my kinfolk. Haters just be talking, so I really do not need their info. Yeah, their info. Yeah.